Okay, to push the embryo into the endosperm. If it will push into the endosperm, then definitely it will take the nourishment and it will develop. We have already studied about the development of the endosperm. After triple fusion, there is a formation of the endosperm, primary endosperm nucellus or nucleus. Then that primary endosperm nucleus divides into either cheirokinesis, then either by the cytokinesis and then by the halobial. So, we have already seen the endosperm is present and the function of the endosperm is to provide nutrition. So, what is the function of the suspensor as well as the ostoreus? They will push the embryo. They will push the embryo so that it can easily enter into the endosperm to get the nourishment. Okay. Now, their function is clear. Function of the terminal cell is also clear, that it will give rise to the embryo. Now, we will see the divisions in case of terminal cell. Okay. Now, we have this terminal cell. I am drawing it here. This is the terminal cell, and once again the same structure I am drawing. Terminal cell will divide. Okay. There will be the division in all the directions. Okay, transverse, longitudinal, all the directions. And because of that, we will get a 4 cell. Clear? Now, this 4 cell, along with this ostoreal and suspensor, is called as a quadrant. I am writing here, this is called as now quadrant. Reason for the quadrant? Because here the terminal cell has divided and it formed 4 cell. Okay. Now see children, the 4 that I am showing you all the 4 structures here only. But actually this is not the case. What is the case? The 2 cells are in front and 2 cells are at the back side. And the structure is little bit mass-like. Okay. So when we cut it 1 and then 2, then we can see the front 2 and back 2 we cannot see. But because we want to see the division and we want to see the process, that's why I am showing all the 4 in front of you only. But actually only 2 is visible to us and 2 will be behind. Okay. Now see. This is the structure. The next structure, what can be happened? There will be one more division in this case. Okay, and it will give rise to 8 cells. 1, 2, 3, and then ostoreal cell. Once again, nucleus I am drawing. Once again, this is suspensor, this is ostoreal, and the division is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. It should be in the center. Okay. Now, this condition is called as the quadrant. Okay. And in this situation, the cell, the terminal cell, this cell, then this, give rise to this, divide into 4, divides into 8, and it is called as octant. And now what is this? This is our pro-embryo, because it is going to give rise the embryo, and that's why it is called as the pro-embryo. So what we can call, we can give the name pro-embryo quadrant or pro-embryo octant. Okay. Now, till here it is clear. There will be one more division, because divisions, now multiple cells will form. Now this is again a mass-like structure. We are only able to see the front cells. We are not able to see the cells which are at the back side. Okay. But we want to discuss the fate of all the type of division, and that's why we are seeing all the 8 cells in front of us. But actually the 4 is near above and 4 is at the back side. It is a round mass of a ball. Now, after this, there will be one more division. Where to form? I am drawing here, okay? There will be one more division, and now the division is periclinal division. Okay, see, what is the meaning of periclinal division? This is the normal division called as the pro-embryo-octron. Now, these are the suspensor cells. We will see this one also just now. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Once again. Now, there will be periclinal division. And the periclinal division is something like this. Clear? Now what we have got? We have seen one structure like this, and inside one more structure, and the divisions of the cells are like this. Okay, see the nucleus for each. Okay, this is periclinal division in the pro-embryo. What we can write here? This is the periclinal division. I am writing here. You should understand this. Periclinal See. After the periclinal division, we get this type of structure. Okay. Now see what has happened. After the periclinal division, we have got outer cells. That is, we have got outer layer. Clear? And inside is called as the inner layer. Now see, this is outer layer, and inside this will be the inner layer. Okay, the outer layer will form dermatogen. I am writing here. Outer will form dermatogen, and this dermatogen, outer layer, will give rise to the epidermis, outermost layer. Okay, and then we have the inner layer that will give rise to the endodermis and different parts of the cell. Now see what happens to this suspensor and hostorial cells. One of the suspensor cell will again divide transversely, and then it will give rise to the 4 different cells. See how? What I am telling you, I will rub this, okay, so that it should be clear to you that what I wanted to tell you. See what happens. We have got this structure. Okay, wait a minute. It's better to erase this also. What we have got? We have got this structure. I told you this division. Then we have seen a periclinal division. Then along with the all cells, the outer layer will give rise to dermatogen, which will give us the epidermis, and this is the inner layer. Okay, Now see, one of the suspensor cell will enlarge and again it will divide. How it will divide? It will divide into 4. It will divide into mass of a ball. Okay. Now this 2 is in front of us and 2 is at the back side. So it will divide in the mass of a cell. 3 and 4. Clear? Now this is, see what is the exact structure. This is one mass of a cell, octant that we have already said. Now one of the structure is like this. From the suspensor, one cell is this and other cells are lying like this. Okay, this is the structure. So this is one circle, this is another mass of a ball, and then we have suspensor and haustorial cell. But we want to see all the structures, all the parts of the cell, because they all will form the different structures. So we are, I'm showing you everything. Now after this, come to the suspensor and haustorial cell. Okay, clear? Till here it is clear now. Now this structure is called as hypophysis. This is as usual suspensor. This is as usual haustorial. Understood? Function of this two is to provide nourishment and push the embryo towards the endosperm. This hypophysis will give rise to something else, and this octal will give rise to something else, that is the part of the embryo. Now we will see the structure. I am again erasing all these things. Now see, we have got this structure. I'm making this with this, okay? This is called as the hypophysis. Okay. Now, the lower two of the hypophysis, lower two, this two, it will give rise to root tip and root cap. Clear? And upper two will give rise to root cortex. Now see children, what we have seen till now, we have seen the terminal cell is going to give rise the proembryo and finally to the embryo. Now the terminal cell has divided, mitotically divided, and give rise to the quadrant and octant, and after that periclinal division. Okay. And the suspensor that was basal earlier, that suspensor will divide the topmost layer of the suspensor, which is towards the terminal cell, which is towards the proembryo, that will divide to give rise the 4 type of cell, and it is a mass of a cell. Clear? Now, the lower 4 cells, which is towards the suspensor, they will give rise to the root tip and root cap. and the upper 4 cells of the hypophysis, which is towards the proembryo, it will give rise to root cortex. Okay, so till here it is clear now. Now what happens? These periclinal octane structure, proembryo octal structure, what it will give? The lower 4 of the cells. Now I am erasing this because it is clear that they are going to give the epidermis. Outer is going to give the epidermis. Okay. Inner 4 cells, they will give rise to hypocotyl. Okay. Hypocotyl. And the upper is going to give rise the plumule. Plus cotyledon. Understood the structure? What we have seen? The structure is like this. I am simply making in a bigger size. Okay, I'll write the name and then I'll revise. This one was the division, periclinal division. One of the suspensor cell divides like this. Again it is a mass of a cell. Then the suspensor cells and after that haustorial cells. What has happened? The outer is giving to the epidermis finally, and inner, the lower 4 cells of the inner, they are giving us the hypocotyl, and the above they are giving us the plumule plus cotyledon. Above means I am talking about this 4 cell, these 4 cells. Okay. Make it clear. And downside 4 cells, they are giving us the hypocotyl. Okay. And what is the fate of these cells? The lower 2, they are giving us root tip plus root cap. What is the fate of these cells? They are giving us the root cortex. Okay. This is as usual suspensor and haustorial to push everything into the endosperm so that they can get the nourishment. Now, till here the structure is 100% clear. What to do now? What will be the next step?